Hello, good morning, and welcome to today's episode of this Money Masterclass. It's yet another Monday and another opportunity for us to gather here and learn and educate ourselves on how to improve our relationship with money, which is what this whole series and episode and educational platform is all about. So, welcome to today, which is episode 37 of our Modesty's Money Masterclass. I hope you've all had a very good weekend. I've had one myself. Spent a lot of the Sundays burning things, and the children enjoyed it. Just setting loads and loads of paper on fire. I'm sure the neighbors didn't actually enjoy it as much as we did. It is what it is. So today we are going to be talking about something very important. And remember, the sole aim of this whole presentation, or why I do this, is to help people improve their relationship with money. And if we understand our relationship with money and how to improve it, it becomes easier to attract money into our lives. And it becomes easier to be in control of money rather than allowing money control us. Because a lot of the problems that are caused in the society, say poverty and social injustice and all that, some of them have very solid roots in people not feeling financially secure. And then if you don't lay the right foundations, the security will not be there. So that's why we are doing what we are doing, to improve people's financial education and help them improve their relationship with money. So today we are going to be talking about the 5 laws of money. 5 laws of money. You see, everything in this life is governed by law. And unless you understand and apply those laws and those principles to those things, things will always appear to be very difficult to do and very difficult to achieve. And money is not an exception, to be honest with you. A lot of people want to make money. A lot of people would like to attract more money into their bank accounts or into their pockets or into their wallets. But the problem is they are not ready to play by the rules. They either want to bend the rules or want to completely have disregard for the rules, but they still want, the results that comes to those who obey and play by the rules. It doesn't work like that. So if you understand these laws and if you understand these rules and these principles and you apply them, then you watch the implications come to you positively and you watch the results flow in. So what I'm going to be talking about today is something that I called from one of the best personal finance books that you will ever read, titled The Richest Man in Babylon. You see, that book has taught me a lot of things, and as this program is aimed at sharing and educating, sharing knowledge, information, and educating people on financial intelligence, I feel selfish if I have all that knowledge to myself and I don't share it with the people that I share with every single time. And in keeping with my promise to you, that whatever knowledge I have, which I feel, hi Christian, good morning, thanks for coming on, brother. Whatever information I have and I do not share it with you, which I know is going to be beneficial to you, it makes no sense to me. Good day to you, Christian. Thank you. It makes no sense to me because there is no point having all that knowledge and that information to myself and it's going to benefit somebody out there and I do not share it. I can't make the money for everybody. I'll only make as much as I can make. So if the knowledge I'm sharing will help you improve your life financially, the world is better for it. Okay. Hi Jenny. Good morning. Thanks for coming on. All right. So um, we're talking about the 5 laws of money here. And I have said that, everything in life is governed by law, and we want to understand how these laws are, what these laws are, and how they're applied, and how they'll be applied, and what implication and impacts they're going to have on our lives. Okay, so let's jump straight into what these laws are and what they represent. So the number one law of money, listen, in the book, The Richest Man in Babylon, what I'm going to put down, or what I'm going to say to you, is not exactly the way it was written in that book. That book was written in classical English format. All this King James English. That's what you hear there. But then I try to interpret it and then adapt it to modern English, where we can all understand and appreciate that concept. And by the way, in that book, it was referred to as 5 laws of gold. But gold in that book represents money, because it was just written in an ancient format and ancient settings. So I've adapted it to modern day English and modern day situation and modern day scenario to enable us understand what that principle is, and then we can easily apply it to our everyday life. Because there's no point me telling you about 5 laws of gold where we no longer trade in gold. We all trade in money, in currency these days. So number one law there is, it says, money comes gladly and in increasing quantity to the person who sets aside at least 10% of his earnings to save towards their future and their families. So basically, this particular law is simply talking about savings. So I'm going to repeat that number one law again for those who want to write it down. The number one law of money is that money comes gladly and in increasing quantity to the person who sets aside 10% of his earnings to save towards their future and their families. Money comes gladly. That is, it gladly comes. One is very happy to come to the person, and it comes in increasing quantity as well to the person who is committed to setting aside 10% of their earnings towards their own future and their family's future. So this principle is all centered around savings, and specifically saying if you can save at least 10% of your earnings every single month, every single period you're paid, you are already laying a solid foundation, and it's an open invitation to money to come to you. Because what it means is that you're beginning to realize the importance of not living above your earnings. As long as you're not spending more than what you're earning, right, you are laying a very good financial foundation. But going a step further and paying yourself first each time you get paid means that you are opening the doors to money to say, come in, I am happy to accommodate you. Because the 10% of your earnings that you are putting aside and you are setting aside each time you get paid or each time you earn your money, it means you have already conditioned yourself to be living within 90% of your earnings. That is a very first bold step you've got to make. And until you begin to spend less than you earn, you will not be able to attract as much money as you want to attract. So that number one law is all about saying that money gladly comes to those who are willing. So it requires an element, a huge element of discipline, financial discipline, meaning that no matter what, whenever I am paid, I am committed to setting aside minimum, at least 10% of what I earn, and set it aside, because that money is not my money. It is the future's money. Okay? So your own money is the 90% of the earnings, because that is where you pay everybody else from. And when you pay everybody else and you haven't paid yourself anything, you haven't set aside something that you can say, this is mine. This belongs to my future. This is a proof. This is the financial proof I have for my future. Then you have not done anything for yourself. Because if you get paid and you pay the tax man, you pay the energy bills, you pay electricity, you pay house rent, or you pay mortgages, you pay credit cards, everybody else gets paid, but you don't get paid. So to help you, it is better for you to set those savings automatically. Automate your savings if you want to be really financially disciplined. Automating your savings means if you get paid at a particular time of the month, say on the 28th of every month, set a direct debit or a standing order that to be debiting your account the next day after you're paid. Because if you leave it to the end of the month to save whatever is left after you've spent, you will realize that nothing is left after you've spent. So if you pay yourself first by automating your savings and saying, if I get paid on the 28th, I'm setting up a direct debit or a standing order to take a certain percentage of my money out of my account into a savings account, then that is where you are beginning to financially discipline yourself, because you've taken it completely out of your control. That is to say, if you know you cannot maintain that control yourself, you cannot manually do that, if you don't trust yourself that well enough, automate it so that it's completely out of your control. Now, if percentage wise it's going to be a little bit difficult for you to start with, you can start with a set amount every month. Say, I'm committed to saving £100 every month. That is what I know I can discipline myself to start with. Start with £100 every month, and then when you do £100 every month, and you've done it for 2-3 months, you look at that savings account. You look at the money you are setting aside, and you're telling yourself, wow, this feels good. I never believed I could do this. I never believed I could achieve this. If this is this good, I'm going to increase my savings a little bit more, because it then means that I have something to dip my hands into to invest when I want to invest. Okay, we're going to come to that point. But the first step is, first of all, the financial commitment and discipline required for you to set aside 10% of whatever you're earning, any period you're earning it. If you're being paid weekly, set it aside weekly. If you're being paid bi-weekly, set it aside bi-weekly. If you're being paid monthly, set it aside every month. Some people have irregular incomes, okay? Their incomes are not regular. Maybe they're agency workers, or they're self-employed people whose income are irregular, they're not paid. Yeah, whether your income is regular or irregular, the discipline remains the same. However regular you earn, save that regularly, okay? And then if you're self-employed, sometimes, money comes in bulk to you as a self-employed person like myself. And then if you have that discipline, the higher you earn, the higher your savings should be. And if for example, you set yourself a target that I'm going to be saving, say £200 every month, and say there are some self-employed people who for 2 months nothing has come into their account. Maybe in the third month something big comes into the account, and then you've set yourself that target of £200 every month, and then in the third month you hit that money big. Excuse me. Go back to those months that you haven't saved and make up for it. So if money comes in the third month, save £600. If that is the commitment you're making, out of whatever has come in, save at least £600. Then if there is a lot more that's coming in, and you know what your cash flow looks like, and maybe in the next 3 months you're not expecting that much again, why not save for that 3 months in advance as well? As long as it doesn't hurt your immediate financial needs. There are funds that you know that you can do without for certain period and for certain times. And if you know you can do without those funds for certain period and certain times, rather than just looking for the the latest shoes and clothes and things to pleasure yourself with, why don't you safeguard your financial future by taking that money and putting it in that savings account or setting it aside for investment? That is how to attract money, because money is attracted to money. You've got to train yourself, you've got to condition yourself to at least be able to survive on 90% of your earnings every month. That is the basic foundation that you have laid. And when you save to invest. Do not basically save to spend. Okay? unless there is a particular target of savings that you are looking forward to. Basically, maybe you are saving to buy a car, that's acceptable. If you're saving to buy a phone, that's acceptable, as long as those savings have a target. But then, the principal aim of your savings should be to invest. Then the spending part of it should be a secondary purpose. And that should come after you have dedicated what you want to invest first. Because the immediate pleasure that you have, if you can defer that pleasure a little bit, you might be able to do something better than that in the very nearest future by virtue of the outcome and the earnings from your investment. But if you can split your savings into pots that will enable you to save some for spending and save some towards investing, then that's fine, as long as you have mapped out what you need to invest and you're sticking to it and you're cracking on with it. That makes perfect sense. Okay, so that is law number 1. Now, law number 2 is that money is a willing worker for anyone who can find profitable employment for it, willing to offer itself up for any opportunity that comes by if asked to work for the owner. I'll take it again. The money is a willing worker. Yeah? For those of you who want to write that down, law number 2. Money is a willing worker for anyone who can find profitable employment for it, willing to offer up itself for any opportunity that comes by if asked to go to work for the owner. So this second law is all centered around investments, right? If you see money as a slave and as a servant, you will enjoy your relationship with money. It then means that you have the mentality to control money rather than having the mentality of money controlling you. It then means you have developed a relationship with money that means that money will work for you rather than you working for money. Because when you get money in your hands, some people, when they have money in their hands, they don't know what to do with it because they don't understand what their relationship with money is. It's not their fault that they don't know what to do with the money, because they simply haven't got the right education and the right mentality and the right relationship with money, which is what, which is why I'm doing what I'm doing, educating every one of us and teaching us how to relate with money. Money is a willing worker. Imagine a worker who is ready to work for you as long as you can find it a meaningful and gainful employment. It is willing to offer up itself for any opportunity that comes by if the owner can send it on that errand. It simply then means that money is there waiting to be sent on an errand. It is you, therefore, that it lies in your hands to send money on an errand. To say to this money, this is what I want you to do for me. You go out there, work for me, and get me something in return. Now, look at this. If you see money as a slave, sorry I'm using the slave analogy, all right? Simply because it's not, I'm a person of color myself, and I feel I don't feel very much at ease using the word slave. But I'm looking at, the concept of slavery as it was used then, and I'm not in any way endorsing it, but I'm just using it as a servant-master relationship. In those days, slaves were sent to fields to work, and they work and their masters earn, okay? And their masters earn, and if those slaves bear children, their masters will still send the slave and their own children into the field, meaning that the output will be more than what it was when just that one slave was working and bringing in returns. That's the way money relationship works. When you invest, that is when you are sending your money on an errand. Now, that your initial seed capital which you invested will bring you returns. And those returns it brings you it's the child of that slave. It is the child of that seed capital. What you do with the child of that seed capital is entirely up to you. You can either choose to squander it and spend it, or you can either choose to put it back at work so that it brings in more generation. And the third generation is bringing in, you can still either choose to squander or to invest again. What it's called is the power of compounding. Hi, Henry. Good afternoon. Thanks for coming on. Richard, thanks for coming on, brother. Emmanuel, I can see you. Thanks for coming on. Right? So, it's called the power of compounding. When returns come into your investment pot and you reinvest those returns, it then means that you have the seed capital plus the returns working for you, and they're going to produce more returns. And when those returns comes in, you have the seed capital plus the first generation and the second generation working for you. And what will happen? The domino effect of that multiple investment strategy, which is the compounding strategy, means that there will be exponential returns coming into your investment pot. Okay? Now, the money you are investing, your seed capital, is the money you have set aside when you were saving. You could have saved that money for a year. You could have saved it for 6 months, for however long. All right? And then when you have saved it for maybe for 1 year, you now say, okay, I have a seed capital. Now I have these savings. What am I going to do with it? Open an investment account. There are various investment platforms that you can invest. Hi, hello, Zona. Good afternoon. Thanks for coming on, brother. There are various investment platforms that you can invest. In fact, I'm going to devote time, very soon to talk about investments and how to invest and ways to invest. Okay, because we really need to open our eyes to the opportunities that are around us and stop wasting the opportunities that we have to make a better living and a better life for ourselves. Because sometimes the things we think are the things that matter to us financially aren't really the things that matter. But when you open your eyes to the opportunities around you and you grab them, you realize how lovely. Good afternoon, Elozana. You realize how much, how important it is for you to acquire some financial education, and how that financial education can help you to project you to where you want to be financially. Okay, so once you identify an opportunity, send money on an errand into that opportunity and watch the money work tirelessly for you. Tirelessly, I mean tirelessly. That's how you understand that money is a willing worker. But some people are very skeptical about sending their money on errands. They are so scared of investments. They are so shy of investments. They are so inimical to investments because they have not tasted the joy of it. They have not tried it. And some people listen to people who are inexperienced in investment than those who are experienced in investment. The moment they want to make an investment, somebody comes from somewhere and tells them not to do it. Oh, don't put your money, don't give these guys your money. All these financial investment, they are rubbish. They'll take your money, they'll run away and nothing will happen. Forget it. The person who is telling you this has no idea of what it takes to invest. Okay? As long as you take proper financial advice and you invest accordingly and you send that money on an errand with the right opportunity, you are doing yourself a world of good. Okay? So the money you have saved, investing it finally means you are sending that money on an errand and you are employing that money as a slave to work for you. So that is when you begin to boss your money. You become the boss of your financial life. Your money doesn't boss you around. You no longer work for it. You now send the money around and the money works for you. Listen, this is the principle that every rich person you can think of applies. And anyone who aspires to change their life significantly financially does this. They save, they invest. They save, they invest. They save, they invest. Simple. Right? So there is no point running around it. That you are working and earning salary doesn't mean that you cannot invest. It doesn't mean that you cannot boss your money. Yes, you might be working for the money temporarily, but you are working to earn that money because you have the knowledge and the skill to earn it. But the question is, when you earn that money, does the money control you, or do you control that money? So it's high time for you to say to money, hey, this is the boss. I am the boss here. This is what I want you to do for me. And the money goes on errand. And then you go do what you're doing, and the money keeps doing what it's doing. And then you are living within your means, not spending more than you are earning, and then you are investing. How good is that? Okay? So that is law number 2. Law number 3 about money is that money clings on to a cautious owner and flees from a careless owner. Money clings onto a cautious owner and flees from a careless owner. Money sticks to those who takes advice from finance professionals before investing and avoids the owner who is careless with it. Money flees from a careless owner, but it sticks with a cautious owner. Money stays with the person who takes advice from finance professionals before investing, and it avoids the owner who is careless with it. This law number 3 is centered around security. Investing your money is good, but what about securing that investment? Making sure that your seed capital is protected. Making sure that you do not carelessly invest in things that you have not researched properly. I mean, to anybody to whom money comes, so many opportunities becomes available. People come to you with various opportunities the moment there is money in your hands. They come with many propositions. But how many of those propositions are really worth looking at? And then if you rush into it, because there is this thing with maybe people who are new to investing, or people who have come into contact with money newly. Some people inherited money, and when you inherit money and you haven't got experience and knowledge of investing, you become confused. Hi, Emmanuel. Good afternoon. Thanks for coming on. You become confused about how actually to go about it. And then different ideas start flying into your head. All right? Some people will tell you, oh, have you heard of tire business? I mean, tire business, that's where the money is now. I mean, if you can just invest like this much $1,000 into it with just one trade on tire business, you're going to make 500% profit. That's the proposition. And this person comes with this idea, oh no, you haven't even heard of crude oil. I mean, people who are in crude oil business, they are swimming in money. If you can just invest this much thousand into this oil deal, man, forget about it, you are made for life. And somebody will come up with, have you heard of cryptocurrency? That is where the money is right now. If you just invest a little bit in cryptocurrency and just leave it for like 3 months, 1,000% profit. Different ideas start flowing into your head because you've got this money in your hands and you don't know what to do with it. Now listen, if you have not taken time to investigate and take advice from finance professionals before investing, you will end up burning your fingers because the money that you have is looking for a cautious owner. And if you turn yourself into a careless owner of money, the money will disappear. Money doesn't stay with careless owners. Remember, we are talking about your relationship with money here, right? Money is like a child. Every child relishes security. Every child wants to stay with someone with whom they feel secure. If they don't feel secure with you, they will not want to stay around you. So if you treat your money like a child, jealously guard your seed capital. Before you put it anywhere, make sure you have taken proper advice, especially if you're investing in financial securities. Okay? Make sure you've taken proper advice from people who are professionals in financial investments and say, hey, I've got this much money. What do you think? What is this investment like? I hear property is doing well. How is the property market? Take advice from a property professional and hear their input. Oh, I hear the stock market is a good place to put money. You're a financial advisor. What's your take on that? Even if they ask you to pay them for that advice, it's worth paying for, because that advice is going to save you money and it's going to make you money. It's better paying for quality advice than just diving into an investment that you have no knowledge of. You've not taken any advice of. The money will disappear from your hands. Hey, COC, good afternoon. Thanks for coming on. The money will disappear from you because you have not actually done the real homework you're supposed to do. You have not ensured the security of your capital. You are investing carelessly just based on sentiment. There are lots of sentiments that goes into investment, but sentiment should not be the driving force. Objectivity and then making sure that your investment is safe, and safety of that investment is very, very paramount for money to stay with you. So when you pay professionals like accountants, like financial advisors, like mortgage brokers, like investment brokers and all that, when you have these professionals around you and they offer you financial expertise on how to invest and how to save, your accountant can save you lots of money on tax. The financial advisor can guide you in investing and making sure that you are investing in the right platform and you're not overpaying in charges and fees. The mortgage broker will make sure that you get the best deal in mortgages if you want to invest in properties, and then you pay them. I mean, so these people are there for a reason, and they have this expertise for a reason. Why don't you use them? Because you don't want to pay them. You don't want to pay them, and then you become careless in your investment, and then you lose everything. All right? So understand that money wants to stay with you as long as you can ensure money that it is safe and secure to stay with you. That is law number 3. Law number 4, money, is that money slips away from the person who invests in businesses that they are not experienced in. Money slips away from the person who invests in businesses that they are not experienced in nor approved by finance professionals. An inexperienced investor not taking advice is a threat to money, and money avoids them. That is law number 4. And that borders around advice and due diligence. I'll take it again. Law number 4 about money is that money slips away from the person. Slips, like SLIPS, yeah? Money slips away from the person who invests in businesses they are not experienced in nor approved by finance professionals. An inexperienced investor not taking advice is a threat to money, and money avoids them. Okay? When you get involved in businesses that you have no experience in, simply because somebody has come to you to give you some kind of proposal that this business is worth doing, and you have no knowledge, no experience, and no background knowledge and information about that business, and then you throw money into it, you are a threat to money, and money will avoid you. It will gently slip away from you because it has no business staying with you, because it's not safe with you. Okay? So we are talking about advice and due diligence here. Before you get involved in any business, do your due diligence. Make your research. Educate yourself. Get yourself acquainted with that level of investment. If somebody advises you to invest in cryptocurrency, go and study about cryptocurrency first of all. Get yourself some good knowledge about cryptocurrency. Understand how it works. Understand how it operates. Find out the risks involved in it. All right? Before you make up your mind on whether it is right for you or not. If somebody advises you to invest in Forex, take your time and investigate Forex investments. and then ask questions from people who are investing in Forex. How is Forex investment? How are they doing? Is it making them money? What are the risks involved in it? And then make your own mind up on what it is. Hi Chidozie, good afternoon. Thanks for coming on. Oluchukwu, good afternoon. Thanks for coming on. Find out how it works, first of all. Now, the other way you can navigate around this is, if you haven't got, Igwe, I greet you, good afternoon, is you can go into some kind of partnership or joint venture with somebody who is experienced in that line of business or in that line of investment. If you haven't got the time to do the due diligence or make the research and the education, okay, partner with someone who is experienced in that and make sure that that partnership is equal, in the sense that your exposure in that partnership is not too much, that the person with whom you are going into that partnership also has a serious stake and something to lose in that partnership, right? Or in that joint venture. Now, as a mortgage broker, as a finance broker, I do mortgages for people. Hi, good day, Emmanuel. I do mortgages for people who want to invest, say, in properties and all that. There are certain mortgages that we would want to arrange, and the lender will require a minimum level of experience from the person who is looking to raise this finance in that area of property investment. For example, there's something called HMO, homes of multiple occupants. Yeah, it's a kind of property investment where you buy a property, maybe property that has like 7 rooms. Instead of renting it to one person, you are renting the rooms individually. Now, it means you are managing 7 different personalities in that investment. Now, some lenders will not lend you money to buy a property that asset of that class if you have not shown experience in managing a buy-to-let or any kind of property investment, or even that particular type of investment. Or take, for example, development finance that we arrange for where people who want to build properties and sell. They want to buy a land, build it from the scratch and sell. Or they want to convert a factory into a residential property, or a block of offices into a residential property. It's called development finance. So lenders will not lend you money if you have no experience in managing projects like developments, in managing sales of properties that have been through development, because they know that it's not as easy as just buying a property and renting it out. There are lots of things involved. So that tells you the role that experience plays. Even finance professionals, financial institutions like banks are very cautious, and they know that without experience, their money is at risk. So that tells you what money thinks about you with inexperience. If you are inexperienced in an investment, you are a threat to money. If you go into that investment without proper knowledge, due diligence, investigation, or collaboration with someone who is knowledgeable and skilled in that respect, in that business, you are risking your capital, you are risking your investment. Money does not like to stay with people like that. So before you get involved in any business and investment, go and investigate that. If you are going to do a business with a company, if somebody is asking you to put money somewhere, go and read up about that company and find out what they are doing, and see how that company has been performing over the years. If somebody is recommending that you invest through a particular medium, go and investigate that medium and see what their track records are like. Go and read up reviews about them on the internet and see what people think about them. If you can find somebody who has done business with them before, find out what their experience is like in that respect. Due diligence doesn't do you any bad at all. But if you haven't got time for that due diligence, the easiest way to do it is to commit your investment fund into the hands of professionals who are skilled in the art of investment, and let them take the risk away from you and do the investment on your behalf. And then you pay them. They are called investment managers. They are called fund managers. Let them take care of the risk, right? Because they are the people who spend every day, time, minutes, second, studying investments and where to put money. And let the burden of returns be on them. And then you judge them based on their performance. If they don't perform, you switch platform and go somewhere else and invest your money. But if you must do it yourself, you must make out time to investigate, to educate yourself, to enlighten yourself, to do your due diligence and background checks. If you are going into a business with somebody, find out how experienced that person is in the business they are introducing to you to do with them. Find out their backgrounds. Who are they? Right? What are their past like? Have they got criminal records? Have they got this reputation of coming up with investment with people and they never deliver? All right, take your time to make that investment because it's your money. And if you don't treat the money well, the money disappears from you. Okay, so that is law number 4. Now, law number 5 is that money avoids the person who would force it to earn impossible returns. Money abhors unreasonable investment proposals that promises unrealistic earnings against the counsel of common sense. Okay? I'll take it again. Money avoids the person who would force them to earn impossible returns. Money abhors unreasonable investment proposals that promises unrealistic earnings against the counsel of common sense. Now, the saying that if it sounds too good to be true, it probably is most of the times correct when it comes to investments, right? Some people have lost money because of greed. So this whole number 5 law centers around greed. Greedy people lose money a lot. And they lose money not because the investment was bad, but because their mentality was bad. Because if their mentality was right, they would have known that that investment was bad. But there are so many shiny investment proposals that will come to you if you've got money. Then the question is, how realistic are those proposals and the returns that they promise you? Oh, somebody's saying, listen, I've got an investment that if you put £5,000 into it, in the next 2 months, it turns to £15,000. And you'll be like, your eyes will pop your eyes will pop out. What? £5,000 in 2 months and I'm getting 15 grand? And the person says yes. Now ask the person the question, how does it work? What do you put the £5,000 to earn that £15,000 in 2 months? If the person cannot explain to you objectively, if the person cannot explain to you how they will invest £5,000 to yield or generate £15,000 in 2 months, run for your dear life. So many unrealistic earnings that are being flaunted here and there are just a bait. They're a trap. And the people they have set that trap for are the greedy people. The ones who do not want to give money the time it requires to build up over time. And they always fall prey to it. Okay? So many people have been swindled in life out of their life savings because they have become too greedy. Because they have jettisoned the counsel of common sense. Because they are in a hurry to arrive at a destination that they have not traveled the distance it requires to get to. What if somebody says to you that you can get to Germany in 5 minutes from the UK? That you can get to Germany in 5 minutes from the UK. And then you ask the person, how do I do that? And the person will just say, well, it will happen. Don't worry about how it will happen, but just pay me this much and I'll make it happen. If you cannot explain to me how you can get me to Germany in 5 minutes, and then you want me to part with my hard-earned money and just trust you for what you say it is. If I give you that money and you disappear with it and I don't get to Germany in 5 minutes, You are not the fool. I am the fool. Yeah. So it's people who are very greedy who fall prey to pranks like that. So many fraudsters have, swindled people into swindled people of their hard-earned money, and then they come complaining simply because you have not played by the rule of money. Money doesn't stay with people who ask them to achieve impossible earnings. I mean, we have described money as a worker, right? So imagine you are a worker, and every single day your boss comes in, and the pile of work on your table is like this much. And your boss says, I want this file dealt with before lunch. And then you start work at 9. And your boss knows that one of those files will take you minimum of 1 day to at least finish and finish dealing with. And then he says, I want you to achieve this within 3 hours. A job that takes 8 hours normally to do. Now, so put yourself in the position of money. That's what you are subjecting your money to. So if you are in that kind of office or work environment where you are set impossible tasks, hi Chijioke, good afternoon, thanks for coming on, where you are set impossible tasks to achieve, are you going to remain in that work environment? Are you going to remain there? No. You will bail at the very earliest opportunity. If any opportunity comes out that would take you out of that work environment, you will disappear without even thinking twice. That's what money will do. If you send money on an errand, if you send money to achieve an unachievable result, money will disappear from you because you're being unrealistic. Okay, so that's how fraudsters succeed. That's how people lose money every single day. I've heard of, when there was this Ponzi scheme called MMM, that, that really ruined people's lives in Nigeria, in Africa, and different parts of the world. So when this Ponzi scheme was floating around, and I was hearing about it, and people were like saying, oh, you pay £100,000 into somebody's account, and then somebody else is going to pay 300,000. Sorry, I'm going to use Nigerian currency here, naira. 300,000 naira into an account out of 100,000 naira. And when somebody told me about this, the first question I asked the person is, that 100,000 naira you paid into somebody's account or into an account you were asked to pay into, what did they do with that 100,000 naira to multiply it and make it, turn it into like 3 times your money and then pay that back to you within a few days? How did they do that? And the guy was speaking to Nigeria said, well, bros, I don't know how they do it. I don't know how they did it. And I don't care how they do it. All I care about is that I put money and I get my money out. That's all I care about. You see, it is that I don't care part. It is that I don't care part that tore people's lives apart. Because the moment you stop caring, the moment you don't care about how that money achieves what you want it to achieve, that is the highest risk point you will get to. You ought to care. You need to care. You have to care about the money you are investing and how it is being used and how that money is generating you that income. For example, when I log on to my investment platform, it gives me a breakdown of where my money has been invested by the investment managers managing my funds. They will tell me what proportion of my investment was invested in the Asian stock market. They will tell me what proportion of my investment was invested in the UK market, what proportion was invested in bonds, what proportion was invested in shares, what proportion was invested in emerging markets and all that. You will see the breakdown, what percentages, and then you see how much that money has yielded you over a period of time. It makes sense to you. I have also had, some investment proposals where people take money and they give to someone who says he's a forex trader, and then they promise you astronomical returns on that. And those they might promise you up to like 30% return in a month, you know, which turns out to be like 360% returns in 1 year. Fantastic. Have you taken time to ask this person, look, you're a trader, how do you trade with these funds, and you know it's used this much? Can I see your track record? Okay, and if that track record does not suggest at least maybe 4 or 5 years of consistent delivery at that level of investment return, it's risky. Okay, because if the person cannot explain to you how they generate that astronomical return, you need to care to understand how that money is invested and how it gets to that point. So when I started this program and I named it Modesty's Money Masterclass, it was Modesty's Monday Motivation, MMM, you know, and now it's Modesty's Money Masterclass, still MMM. Some people were like, no, don't talk about MMM. Don't name it MMM, because it has a very bad reputation with Nigerians. They're not going to be interested in what you're saying the moment they hear MMM. And I said, why? MMM is not exclusive to anybody. It could mean anything to you. MMM could mean anything to anyone. So if your fingers have been burnt by MMM, I have no sympathy for you. If you lost money to MMM, I have no sympathy for you, because you deserve to lose money, right? I'm not here to commiserate with you and say, oh, sorry that you lost money. Sorry, I'm not saying sorry, because you went against the counsel of common sense. You were greedy. Is the simple thing to say. And I'm not saying with mincing words. You were greedy, and you paid the price for the greed. So I cannot, because of your bitter experience out of greed, now deny myself the opportunity of coining my program in a way where it will be easy for people to identify, because this is a different way of looking at money. The MMM you used to know as a fraud and Ponzi scheme, the reason you had that bad experience was because you made yourself available for fraud, for fraud and tricksters, and they dealt with you. But this version of MMM is now an opportunity for you to make amends, to do the things you should have done then and start doing it now, which is educating yourself. So I want you to see the positive side of MMM and wipe off the negative one that has been haunting you for years or months. Because now this is a new opportunity for you to say, okay, I'm going to get rid of the past. I'm going to get rid of the times that I was stupid. Now I'm going to be reasonable and I'm going to be knowledgeable. So I want to be part of this Ikenna's MMM and begin to educate myself and improve my relationship with money, which is what we're doing. So money will flee from you the moment you expose your money to unnecessary risk. And the moment you require your money to begin to earn you unnecessary and unrealistic returns, money will disappear from you. All right, guys, this is where we're going to round it up today, and this is how much. Hey, Martins, good afternoon. Thanks for coming on, brother. And this is how much time can allow us to take today. And I hope this has been useful to you, and I hope this has been beneficial to you. And please, like we always say, leave us feedback and let us know what you think. Whatever platform where you are watching this and where you're listening to this, let us know what you think. You can comment, you can like it, you can share it. If you think anyone needs to hear this or to benefit from it, feel free to share it, among your circle of influence. And go to our page on YouTube, on our channel on YouTube, and subscribe to our YouTube channel. There are loads and loads of stuff on my YouTube channel. Just type my name on YouTube, Ikenna Umezudike. It comes up, and then you see everything that we have been doing, the things we've done in the past and we've said in the past. It's all on YouTube for you to consume, and we'll keep uploading more stuff on YouTube for your consumption as well. So thank you very much for being part of today's program, and I am going to see you again next week. But before next week, Monday, I'm going to see you again this Wednesday when we gather here again to talk about mortgages in our Modesty's Mortgage Masterclass. Until then, goodbye, God bless, and stay safe. Bye now.